There are few filmmakers in modern history that have explored the isolation, loneliness, and emotional dependencies of characters as well as Hong Kong director Wong Kar-Wai. His movies are appreciated worldwide for being stylistically invigorating, but also emotionally resonant through the depth of their characters. Wong Kar-Wai has shown his versatility over his career through directing multiple genres. He's done crime, romance, and action, but no film has brought him as much mainstream acclaim as his 2000 romantic period piece In the Mood for Love. To me, it really is an outstanding film and is the best example of how Mr. Wong uses every filmmaking tool at his disposal to portray two very complex characters and the war of emotions subtly manifesting within them. Today, I'd like to spend a few minutes appreciating how Wong Kar-Wai portrays this war of emotions, touching on the three elements of framing, color, and the writing of the two main characters. So join me as we explore In the Mood for Love. This video is brought to you by Mubi. Mubi is a streaming site with expertly handpicked films from around the world, and it's a fantastic platform to explore amazing films throughout history. It includes Asian gems such as some brilliant films from Wong Kar-Wai, as well as some Malaysian classics and other art house favorites. You can get a 30-day free trial by signing up using mubi.com/maximumhype. So what is so great about In the Mood for Love? Ask any critic, film pundit, or YouTube video essayist and they'll tell you that a big part of it is the cinematography, and specifically the masterful framing of the scenes in the film. The film is shot by Wong Kar-Wai's frequent cinematographers Christopher Doyle and Mark Lee Ping Bin, and through their use of their symbolic framing, they elevate the story and characters to a level that few cinematographers can achieve today. They use the tightness of the space in the apartments in the film to symbolize how isolated the characters are in their respective relationships. The main characters, played by Maggie, Cheung, and Tony Leung, are often shown boxed in the narrow hallway of their apartment. Notably, both their respective spouses are almost never seen on screen, as the camera, much like the main characters, never seem to be able to capture their presence. This symbolizes how alone and emotionally estranged both characters are in their relationships. Loneliness is a key theme in many of Wong Kar-Wai's films, and In the Mood for Love is not an exception. Even outside the apartment, the film makes a point to frame our main characters through windows, alleyways, mirrors, and more. These represent the artificial detachment of our characters from each other as well as the audience. These framing devices almost act as barriers, as if our characters are always hiding something from us, much like they are hiding their true emotions from one another. These barriers also reinforce how trapped they are in their own emotions, like in this scene where the bars resemble a cage, or this amazing scene where the mirrors give a sense of disorientation around the nature of the relationship. I'm constantly astounded at how much the framing of a scene can tell you so much about what our characters feel for one another. But the framing is just one aspect of what makes this film so emotionally engaging, because Wong Kar-Wai and his team also combine the outstanding cinematography with an immaculate use of lighting and color to breathe life into every frame. The colors in this film, or in some cases the lack thereof, are an equally crucial element to tell the audience how the two main characters are spiraling through their lives. Many scenes are presented in cold tints of green and cyan, with the blackness of shadows commonly dominating the frame. This once again supports the emptiness and isolation our characters feel when reflecting on their current relationships. But as Tony Leung and Maggie Cheung's characters get to know each other better, we see a new color introduced. Suddenly, red shows up more and more, representing the blooming passion these characters are developing for one another. The reds are vibrant, even jarring sometimes, but as with many colors, the use of red is a double-edged sword. While on one hand representing love, I think the film also uses it to represent excess and the danger that comes with it, as if telling the audience that love is a fine line to walk, and that passion and heartbreak are inextricably intertwined. What I love about this shot in particular is how it combines both framing and color to layer the story. At this point, the relationship between the two main characters have developed substantially, but something is holding them back from satisfying their desires. One side of the screen, where Tony Leung's character stays, is a more neutral, earthy color, but the other side is completely covered in bright red drapes. This tells us how close these characters are to giving into their emotions, as if they could just reach out and cross to the other side of passion, but their internal conflict keeps them trapped in the middle. This conflict is in how they perceive their relationship, and is the focus of the final part of this analysis. No matter how technically brilliant the film looks, it is ultimately Wong Kar-Wai's voice through the writing of his characters that define the essence of the film's narrative. Now, I am fully aware that writing and Wong Kar-Wai films don't really go hand in hand because Wong Kar-Wai doesn't generally use proper scripts at all. But his improvisational directing style is what makes the character depth in this film that much more impressive. Spoilers ahead in case you haven't seen the film, but at its core, In the Mood for Love is a film about unrequited love and the suppression of emotions due to seemingly moral principles. We find out that the spouses of our main characters are having an affair with one another. This is the inciting incident that lights the fire of the relationship between Maggie Cheung and Tony Leung's characters. But while they spend time with one another, they establish early on that they will not follow in the footsteps of their spouses, even when they unsurprisingly fall in love. The rest of the film is about how the two characters bury their emotions for each other, repressing their budding feelings. Maybe out of fear, but also the innate need to be a better spouse than their actual spouses. And the way these characters are directed to interact with each other, to interact with the space around them, projects the fact that these are characters in deep pain as they wrestle with their desires and reflect on what has been and what will be. Watching this film is like watching a heart break over 90 minutes, and we don't see enough stories like this in the zeitgeist today, even though the tragedy of how the film ends is probably reflective of countless relationships in the world today. Now, I am all for happy endings. The world knows we need those more than ever these days, but there is something about In the Mood for Love's sadness that I find incredibly beautiful. And as I watch Tony Leung make his ultimate sacrifice, and as he whispers his repressed emotions for the final time, burying them away forever, it caps off a long war of emotions within characters in one of cinema's most accomplished, complete, and emotionally transfixing films. Thank you once again to Mubi. Mubi is a streaming site with expertly handpicked films from around the world, and it's a fantastic platform to explore amazing films throughout history. It includes Asian gems such as some brilliant films from Wong Kar-Wai, as well as some Malaysian classics and other art house favorites. You can get a 30-day free trial by signing up using mubi.com/maximumhype. If you liked the video or you've seen In the Mood for Love, drop a comment and let me know what you thought. I'll be back with a new video soon, so until next time, stay safe, stay hyped, and I'll see you next time.